Okay, let's start then. Uh, my name is Melinda Matuz. I'm a senior associate in UNStudio.
My name is Caterina Micucci. I'm an interior architect and associate at UNStudio.
We came here to tell you a story about UNStudio, more or less giving a little bit of glimpse on how we work and how we ended up with this approach here in Isola, where we have an installation. And we will introduce you to every different kind of things. We are not going to show and go deep into projects, but get glimpses here and there. Actually, we've been talking before with Katerina that the most perfect would be if we just have a chat amongst each other. I think we can give it a try now. So first about UNStudio, where we are coming from. UNStudio is an international design firm, Dutch design firm, based in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. I will start with a little bit of intro on what we are pursuing, where are we going with our design. What we always say when we start with a client or when we start with a project, that our projects are designs all about people. Next to that, of course, it's also about the planet. Pursuing these two topics is one of the main drivers behind UNStudio's works. Our design is highly knowledge-driven, and it really spans from the smallest scale to large scale in urban design and so on. From cultural icons to infrastructure of the future, energy neutral educational buildings, and also urban projects. All in all, we create meaningful spaces, and meaningful spaces in a sense that they have lasting impact. We really like to show these two slides after each other because, first of all, the Erasmus bridge in Rotterdam is the first project of our studio. It was done in the end of 80s. This bridge became the icon of the city, and this guy, a sailor from Rotterdam, he sails on international waters, and what he says that whenever he gets back to Rotterdam and sees the bridge, that's when he feels home. And what else you can wish for as an architect?
Our main office is in Amsterdam, so there where everything born. A long time ago, thanks to Ben van Berkel and Caroline van Bos. During the years, we grew a lot according to our project and our interesting market. So we also have an office in Shanghai, Hong Kong, Frankfurt, Dubai, and Melbourne. Doesn't work. Okay, so I stopped to use it. What is extremely interesting is it's a very interdisciplinary platform and also work in a completely different scale of architecture. So we have a department that developing urban design, interior, product design. We recently have a new session called UNSex that is actually more interested about the services that can follow and also are part of architecture and interior. So here, actually, you can see all our twins, brother and sisters. That is the one that I mentioned before. Plus, we have UNStudio Future. UNStudio is very famous to have this future in mind, or at least this is what is one of the drivers. So that's why we have a department that is developing research about future in terms of new way of living, working, and also services. What is extremely interesting is always looking to the backstage, I would say, from the architecture. So what we like to share today with you is also the methodology that I quickly pass from a very strong process between the people that are working, starting from listening, sharing, collaborate. So it's an open platform that is constantly have the client, the developers, and all the different other disciplines that tangentially touch UNStudio to create something.
Going back to the topic of this talk. So what we would like to show is the principles, what's behind UNStudio's design. Besides the slides, what we have already shown you, the main drivers of UNStudio's works come from technology, sustainability, and economy. These are quite generic, but within these we are more and more, especially in the last decade, working with creating communities, integrating technology into built environment, and a heavy level of innovation, and innovation not only in the sense of technology, but also social innovation, and innovation in the way how we approach certain topics, how we deal with them, how we bring these to people and into our work. We will talk about these different layers of this. I mean, the ones which are on these slides, architecture, interior, urban, collaboration, and product, still quite generic. And the aim, what we would like to show you is how these are blurred into our work, how an architectural project is actually driven by urban intention, how technology can just recreate all the concept, how it can take with it the whole way, how we are working with the whole thing. And with this, we will start with a little bit architectural scale project, going also into interior and community in the same time. This first one is the new headquarters of Booking.com in Amsterdam. This building is just about to open soon. The project is running for over 5 years. It's next to the Central Station in Amsterdam, and it will actually hold all of the employees of Booking in Europe, like European headquarters. Why this project is important and why we are showing this to you is the way how this building became sort of a recruitment vehicle with a very, very open approach to communities, and with the very strive of giving as flexible place for people as possible. This building in itself, almost 5,000 work spots in it, is like a smaller Dutch village, let's say. It's an extraordinary intense building, which even if it's so dense, still together with the client Booking, we really wanted to invite the public. So all the setting of the building is about having functional spaces what people can use, dwell, but also have this gigantic atrium, so-called connector, which connects very heavily to the urban realm and invites actually all. This comes back in every design decision made along the way. So literally the urban space pours into the interior and embraces the people within it. The profiles within Booking, very progressive crowd, of course. They get all the opportunity to use the entire building and feel as comfortable as they can. And the space, this atrium, and the levels of the atrium, the integration of the atrium is all to fuel creativity within the building. And all this, embraced with biophilic design, also brings in nature, sort of. Also gets the sense how we can emotionally engage people, how we can make them feel that it's not only their workspace, but it's a space where they really would like to spend their time, make friends, and also get the most what they can out from their own potential.
With the same principle, we also developed the project of Jetbrains. Jetbrains was one of the most interesting projects that we developed recently. We won a competition. We are in St. Petersburg, and the client, it's extremely interesting because they are software engineer. They are extremely open to give the best of their employee. So what is really relevant in this project that we would like to light up is not really the architectural part that we truly believe, but is mainly related how the architecture create and emphasize the community inside an office space. The future of this project, architecturally speaking, is related to this vertical square. So it's a sort of central steps in the middle of the building where all the community of Jetbrains it will gather and have the opportunity to share idea. They really want to create a space where create debate, and in the same time it also hosts different kind of opportunity for them also to get creative. So they really push also in terms of creating space for technology and for the people to feel home. So that was very important for us also in the interior, in the decision that we took in terms of materials and kind of furniture, because we wanted to give this idea of a space for inspiration, but in the same time also a space that let them feel belong something. An important point is related to this blurring boundaries. Is again, you saw it also before in the booking office, how the continuation of materials and the square enter and became part of the interior. The same principle we had it here. So we had to link this building to another one, then to the city. So that's why everything looks like the continuation of the courtyard outside, enter inside in terms of materials, but also in terms of green, because also the health is an important topic that we bring on board, and we know that it's not just in terms of healthiness, but also having the green inside help people to feel much more inspiring and concentrated. This is the sad part of it. We started, it was half built, and unfortunately, according to the current situation, we had to stop. So our office took the decision to stop, even if our client was not supportive of the government. So the interior of the main heart that we were talking before is this atrium. The atrium has a very interesting story, recalling the saloon and the space of in the garden, the Russian garden, when people used to surround it and stay together in the middle of the green. So also the material that we decided to pick has a relation with the history of the space, and we wanted to create a contemporary version of it and definitely embrace the space. These steps that you see here, it was one of the most important places that could host rather the talk or people just sitting and enjoying their time.
I will go back to this one for a second because I think interesting to tell about this project that Jetbrains is an extremely progressive company, but they are super subtle. So this headquarters is for them and for their employees, so the people who work for them. They were not striving for getting attention to themselves. And that's also something what's not very usual when working for larger companies. What we found very interesting during the journey, and I think is very relevant for this talk, is that the opportunity to really work with them on creating space for community and having this as the utmost strive of the project is something I think very beautiful. And we've been very happy because our signature atrium on the volume is still something what we think is iconic. The building is on the Finnish Gulf, so whoever arrives on the water, and this is the route from where the large ferries arriving to St. Petersburg, they would see that something is happening there. And this atrium with its overwhelming lights and vibrance, and also we have a huge wall with visual art on it, is something which in its core for the community, but also has this kind of very soft branding value. And this finding the balance on what we would like to express, I think is something very, very important. Next one, we are in Georgia. It's a small airport in Kutaisi International Airport. Very interesting because in this case we had the opportunity to actually extend our own building, which was just finished in 2012. And the original building had an idea of a courtyard, a garden, a sort of community space. And this community space was extended with this public terrace and with creating with this terrace, also giving the opportunity for the local community to use this building. So here in this building, we had the chance to step outside of creating only an aviation hub. Airports are very heavy on technology and requirements. But we were able to do a concept where the very large part of the building can be also used for community events, for cultural events, and be invited and be part of the community.
One really, really interesting part of this project, it was apart the strong relation that Melinda was mentioning about the exterior and the interior, the cultural destination of it. It was also the idea of creating a gesture that somehow was recognizable and was entering as a part also of the interior space. And what we really like, it was also the journey that we were thinking for the people that are using the airport. Generally, we find in different airport areas that make people stressed or make people more in rush, and we started to study also the emotion of the people. What would make them feeling comfortable? What is going to be the best journey of people to arrive there? And this was the design drivers. It became fundamental also for some interior decision, and also for that were blurred to the exterior as well. This one is one of the main entrance, actually, where we go inside. We see directly the big stair that connect to the terrace outside, and this area where, for the first time, it was, maybe this work, it was, there is all this wall that is in completely glass, so you can see directly from inside to the other side, the gate. It means that for the first time, the people that are living can have a contact with the other people in front. So now we are used to say goodbye in the security check in that case, and in Georgia is quite relevant, I would say, in Italy as well. Sometimes you see the people that stay till the end with their partner or family, and there was this opportunity. So we wanted to create a sort of lounge for the people that bring the travelers, and at the same time stay with them till the last moment. Probably that was not the best for the teenagers that wanted to don't see the parents, but I think was good. And we designed actually all the furniture for acoustic reason and also for seating. So we have some element that recall the old spaces. We want to bring even here the green inside and emphasize this idea of transparency of the space and continuity. Two elements of continuity strong, so are the ceiling that cover and overarching all process, and all the interior space, and the transparency was one of the most important point to make it stronger, this idea of community.
And the next one, another interpretation where the same principles are much more enhanced with greenery and biophilia. This project is in Melbourne, a 300-meter high tower complex, mixed-use development. I will go back for a second, where the principle of the design is extremely simple. So what we would want it to achieve is that, however, we are very high, we are in a high rise, but to have access for all users to green, have also a relation between each other, and with this also have the opportunity to sort of to spread around functions and invite people up to the top of the building. You will see it on the next slide. I will go there in a second, that the plinth, so the podium of the building is very, very public with functions, but also the top of the building takes the same, and within also in the levels there are inserted community and public functions. So it's not an enclave where only the users can go up to the upper level, take a view, but also there are spaces where they can spend time together. The podium, which is very complex, it has also retail, it has community functions, also has art. Actually, Pompidou Center will move to Australia and have their first branch in this building. It's very important because it's also having getting the right partners to occupy these spaces is always something what we strive for. And overall, the principles, the same things what you have seen in the earlier glimpses, that the same principle goes through all of these designs. I will continue with this one also. It's a very, very small and very important project for us. It's Brainport Smart District in Helmand, in a little, next to a little village and close to Eindhoven in the Netherlands. It's an urban project, and it's an urban project in it, which is, I think, the most innovative urban project I have ever seen. That's a little bit weird saying it about our own project, but the project principally is built up on a community and on a group of developers who would like to give a piece of land to people to get their most potential out from innovation. So the land is not supplied with utilities. There is only a base and the curated framework how to use this land, and it's open for interpretation. So the rules what we are going through all the time with urban design, complying to regulations, getting set everything as a base, here it doesn't exist. What exists here, that there is a principles program line set, some kind of standards everybody has to meet when they come here. This varies from participation to data, digital, mobility, food and water. And the aim is that the whole project and the whole urban realm is self-contained. So all food appearing here is produced or somehow treated here. All electricity, all energy is created here. And within this, it's a many years running project. A very, very strong participatory process has been established. So most of the occupants of the district are already on board, and they are contributing to how the project is developing. They are participating in meetings, in workshops, sharing their ideas, fighting also for their rights, because they are not always aligned what they would like to see in their environment, but ready to pursue this space and make it theirs and interpret it as they think it's the best to experiment and live. Within this, it's going to be 1,500 homes. Out of this, UNStudio is working on, so the urban concept is ours, but we are already in progress development of the first 100 homes, and all developer consortiums are sort of pitching to get the opportunity to get here. For the first phase, the overflow of applicants was more than 10 times more, and this shows that there is also this kind of wish in people to have the chance to really work in a space and use a space which has this basic freedom, let's say. And within this, each of the projects, they don't have to comply to all of the program lines. They have to pick main themes and go with those. And in our project, data is one of these. So we are developing a data platform which is completely maintained and consented by the users. So all users will get their ownership on their data, which I think is, we don't even, I think, realize ourselves how important is that we are in control of what we are sharing and what we are getting from the digital world, and what we are how we can deal with that, and what's the importance of that.
How many homes are in one unit? Because I saw the rendering different buildings.
Yeah, it's dominantly low-rise, the whole realm, because it's a village-scale development. So it's more or less will remain small, but overall it's there are only guidelines, so there are no limitations or urban regulations set in stone, like you would say you can only build 3 levels, or you can only build this density or that density. That's also, I think, that's the beauty and the extreme challenge of this project. But on the other hand, the level of freedom here is something what's really exceptional. So a level of freedom on decision, on being involved, on being heard. This is something what in urban design is really difficult to find, I think, throughout the world. And I think community aspect of this one, the community of designers and the whole team is as strong as the community will be who will actually use this space. And that's also something very important. This will come back later again, that the like-minded participants of a project coming from many, many different backgrounds, this gives added value to a project that we cannot replace with anything else, I think. And then this one, just for the sake of seeing it, it's very dense, but it's a small space, what you see here. And why we wanted to show you this image, because we wanted to say that it's not important. So what you see on the screen is not important how this urban plan looks like, because it's going to look like something completely different. All what's important, that it has some principles, some very, very basic settings of having this kind of large park in the middle and then built environment around. But it's free for interpretation completely. Glimpses how the neighborhood would look like. Oh, that's also me. And the next one, I think, is a very important project also, especially because it's in Milan. It's in the outskirts, in Buzzano. A very interesting place, very much troubled on society, on being connected to the city. Its project is with Unipol, and was coming from a strive to create an urban district which is themed around health, having a clinic in itself and connecting to this healthcare facility. Main intention was to create connectivity and integration, very important here because it's a very disconnected space, but most of all reaching inclusivity on multiple levels, creating a sensitive neighborhood, an inclusive neighborhood, and also an active neighborhood in the same time. The concept is curated around 3 main topics, I would say. One is green, the other one is healthcare living as a service, and the third one is a very strong intergenerational micro-neighborhood based realm. The green theme is running through linear parks and activated green pockets, which are enhanced with technology to bring people closer to their environment and get a green environment where the environment is also reacting and working together with the users. Within this, we have created different pockets. This is one of many actually. It belongs to the clinic, where built environment and green environment is enhanced with several different kind of embedded sensors and solutions, which help to create comfort within the space and help to create for people to find where they need to go to find what they are looking for within the space. With this, we have been working together with UNSense, one of our branch companies, as Katerina was saying earlier. They are responsible within our work for technology being embedded into built environment. Within the concept, they went through a development of how urban realm and the green together can embrace each other, and how they can with different solutions really give the users the opportunity to make this whole thing really theirs. The neighborhoods are themed around their relation to healthcare in one sense, but on the other sense are curated in a way that the real estate products, the type of housing, is inviting different generations to dwell the same space. So senior housing, nursing home, student housing, rental and sale apartments are all themed around, and they also all have their own little identity, and within this little identity they can create their own connections. And the last one, the most important probably, is the healthcare living part, where the clinic has been sort of decentralized. So we have still a formal healthcare facility on the site, but in the same time, the health is embedded in every aspect of the project. This happens in a way that we created different platforms for informal healthcare facilities, for example, a vitality hub, and also into the homes themselves. So the the homes are also equipped with necessary facilities to be more open and more pleasant for enhancing how we live and how we can pursue a more healthy lifestyle. The blending of formal and informal healthcare is as important as in the other projects, blending interior, exterior. It's the same thing on another level, and it helps us to really bond communities and enhance the value of the urban realm in the same time. Here you see some examples how the home gets how within home gets addressed this concept, and what kind of solutions can give opportunities for people to really be in an environment which is not only walls around but something more. And the social aspects of this one, strengthening connection within the neighborhood, being able with digital means to connect to friends, family in case help is needed, and with this also creating the bonds within the neighborhood.
Okay, I can take it from here. This is, I guess, is our last project for today. This is our installation that is part of the Design Week in Milano 2022. This is our kid, so we did everything for him. We really did even the impossible, and the all inconvenience happened, but we are extremely proud about the result and the message that is behind it. So we are in Via Colamontano 13, that's very close by here, and the story started actually in January or even before, when we've been contacted by the Fashion Research Italy Archive and the Academy from Bologna to lead a team of young architects to take inspiration from the archive, pattern archive in Bologna. I will tell you more about this, and translate it in something that can enter in the world of interior architecture. So actually the Fashion Archive in Bologna collected more than 30,000 pieces between textile and pattern and design coming from the silking from here in Milan, where all the best fashion designers were going there and start to print their pattern. So that was an inspiration also in the past 40 years of most creative fashion designers from Prada, Etro, Emporio Armani, not Emporio, to get also inspired also from different kind of culture. So it's something that is amazing. If you have the opportunity, please go there. And the Academy is an institution that is actually developing a master's specified in different kind of field. So this is interesting to mention because we truly believe in the interdisciplinarities of our discipline, and it was extremely powerful, we have to say, and helpful also to go through the different kind of step. From here, this is exactly was the main topic where we started to think. So from the exclusive historical heritage, we wanted to make an extraordinary collection. we would also add democratic extraordinary collection, because we truly believe that should be open and accessible from everyone. The full, of course, the full project started, as I mentioned before, from the inspiration, so from the archive, and then we bring on board also two strong companies that are Quadrat. I don't know if you know, it's a textile company, extremely open in every kind of field and present in enormous market, and Object Carpet, a small but very powerful company coming from Stuttgart, and they are actually working a lot also with sustainable approach. And we decided to work with outdated collection of this product. It means that studying and going there in their space, we understood that they have a huge amount of previous collection, great previous collection, that for any reason they are out of the market. And so we thought, okay, that's great. It's actually part of our idea, no? This overwriting languages coming from different disciplines, overwriting inspiration and heritage, and why not overwriting also different collection. That's super powerful. We have in our installation pieces coming from Raf Simon, from Prada, so from the previous collection, and we are proud to give them a new life with also a new identity. I also have to say, no, this sort of approach, it really comes from the circular approach. So the use of outdated materials. It's also bring on board the idea of upcycling. So not really recycle, because anyhow in that case it's going to be a consuming energy as well. But we really truly believe that we can make something from this collection and combine together and rewriting without reducing as much as possible the all long process and energy behind it. This sort of circular approach, it is not only in the process, but it's also in the idea that is traveling around. The first step is taken by the Creative Studio, as I mentioned before. So that was the first phase, where the six architects actually coming from all over the world, literally all over the world, were spending time between Bologna and Amsterdam, where we experience a lot different kind of materials, technique, taking inspiration from the archive and translated them in something different. So it was extremely inspiring process where what is interesting, it was the overwriting cultures, because this group, all girls, came from completely different part of the world, starting from Sudan, Mexico, UK, Canada, and they translate their knowledge and their culture in the same address, in the same direction. And that was very interesting for us. The second phase is the exhibition that I wish that you can pass by. We are extremely happy, so it's a sort of but this maybe later when we go to the exhibition, I will explain more in detail. But there you will have the opportunity to see how we translated this idea, because what is interesting is like, it's not a project. You are not gonna see there the project, but you see there the inspiration that it guides all our process behind. And the last step is actually our extraordinary collection. So we are extremely open with other collaborators that have this point of view than us, that has this goal as us, to create this collection with this outdated materials and with the upcycle process.
Yeah, and a little bit of background on how the concept actually operates and how our installation came together for the design week. So overall what we were doing is that we took something from the archive as an inspiration. The archive is really differing in qualities and principles. Some of the prints are coming from the end of 19th century, one of the fabric experiments from the 2010s. the observation and the research of this give us the opportunity to really see what can come from this into interior and more spatial design. What we have chosen for our installation was an original pattern from the 1930s, very geometrical, basic thing actually. And overall, what we would want it, so the whole concept is about creating new values and using something in a different way and combining them. So what we were searching for was what are the layers of this base pattern, where is it coming from, how can it be turned into something else. So within this research, we were finding hidden three-dimensionality within the pattern, and we translated it into something more controlled and very flexible in the same way. After this, we created variations, and the variations resulted in a sort of spatial interpretation, where everything is very didactical, but very immersive in the same way. So what we are looking for in this, so all the exhibition is about showing the concept to the public overall. So we are going towards real research, development, and product design, but the installation is a glimpse on how these principles can be translated into something that surprises you, immerses you, and also expresses in the same way that these beautiful, outdated, neglected materials and neglected patterns can be turned into something else, how they can completely change identity and create something completely new in the same time. That's how it looks like in the exhibition. And I think we are extremely looking forward to the next step. We are super happy about the result, because really seeing this came through, seeing that the three-dimensionality is the simplicity and the combined value of this installation, how much it really expressed what we were thinking about, I think is very, very positive and something for us, big happiness. But in the next step, we are going towards really research with the companies we are working with already. Also, I think important that we have two companies who we collaborate with, is textile and carpet, but the concept stands for anything else. So it can be lighting. We also have collaboration set up with Delta Light for that. It could be furniture. We will work on this direction with Cesare Roversi. And it could go back to fashion, be part of visual merchandising campaign, or even what we would like, that it also goes further on the teaching, the academic side, because the mindset, what we set up and the concept is something what was very valuable for us, but also for the participants of our studio. So being able to experiment, to see behind the curtains and get the concept alive and pursue another take on sustainability and circularity, we think is super important. And putting also design back to the story of circularity and sustainability. This project, the products, they are not going to be circular and sustainable in their way, how the new product development of all the companies we are working with. This is not sophistication on production, not sophistication on the used materials, but actually deal with those collections which are already produced. Some of them are 10 years old. So they've been made with a very, very different mindset. And the importance is that it's sort of a layer of circularity, sustainability, where we create value through design. That's the strongest. And we create value with combining efforts of a multidisciplinary team and also different mediums. So the Fashion Research Archive as something which is also, in its way, it's beautiful but neglected, because fashion designers has been moved on. That's why actually why the factory was closed in 2010, because designers are not tending to experiment so much with the materials. Nobody is painting little patterns with their hands, but this value, how it used to be done, what it means, how it's done, is something what still has its power, we think. And as the leftover materials will get their new value, new meaning. The same happens with the heritage, and the two together bring something completely new, we think. Finish?
Question or answer? Thanks. Very nice.
In the wall, what I was mentioning in Jetbrains, the visual wall, that's something where when we sort of stopped with the project, we were finally at the momentum when we started to talk to the lighting designers on site how to actually make through. And also in that one, I don't know if you remember that we had a pixelated suspended ceiling with shimmering lights. So that's, maybe I will go back. We have that image now, Kat? So this suspended ceiling also has lighting, which in our original, this what you see, the little pixels. So the original idea, but of course reality then overwritten that. Our original idea was that the lights are actually traveling together with people. When they sit somewhere within this huge atrium, then starts to make them more comfortable, changes the tone of the light, maybe even coming down. So that was the original one, that it's really is a responsive design on the ceiling. But then in the construction phase, it became something programmed, that you have certain settings when you have, I don't know, you have your winter morning to refreshen everybody, and then when the evening comes, it's different. When there is a talk within the atrium, it concentrates there. So absolutely.
I would say that in Italy we have this very, very strong boundary between public and private that is part of our way of living and perceiving the space. So we are a bit different, I mean, from other countries. So to blur and to break these boundaries, I would say that is quite long, requires quite a long process. I have to say that I really appreciate somehow what they are trying to do in Isola. I mean, I don't come from Milano. I worked here several years, but I don't know when Isola was still a neighbor where you couldn't enter. So Porta Garibaldi was the sort of door that you couldn't pass after 11. So, but right now what I see is like a lot of different kind of initiative that really include the community, try to open up a bit, try to also the park, the BAM park, yes, the Piazza Gaiolenti. I think it perfectly works. Somehow try somehow to break these boundaries. This I see quite strong limit in Milan, but I also see a lot of effort to try to create and open up a bit more this platform to re-originate also the community, the local community, mixing them with the international community and trying to find the balance. I'm not saying that the result is there, but what I can see, I see that they are sometimes going in that direction, and I want to mention sometimes.
Well, for the outer places for sure, yeah. But not inside a building, as you try to do.
Yeah. We know. We know because this idea, sometimes private means more, I don't know, more quality, it seems. It seems that we are very scared about, we have to finish, but it seems that we are touching a very particular point. No, it seems that we are scared about open up because we are losing quality of the space. So this is there is the perception with some developer or development that this situation, it doesn't guarantee a lot of quality for the properties or for the offices. They think that is more exclusive. So breaking this idea, it's a strong challenge, but we are working with this. So we wish that it's going in a good direction. Recently I saw one building in Milan that I thought works very well, but it doesn't jump now in my mind, but I will tell you maybe in a bit.
So, thank you very much.